Sup, Nerdmigos, and the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norcroft. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review, Jive. Yesterday was Terrible Movie Tuesday, and to be honest, we're running low on terrible Halloween-themed movies. But so it was, it was Wife's pick, and we decided to go with,
Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant.
Yeah, Cirque du Freak.
Right? It's a weird title.
Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant. And that's because there's actually, I think there's a vampire's assistant too. But whatever. So this is starring John C. Reilly, Chris Massagolia, Josh Hutcherson, Salma Hayek, Ken Watanabe, Patrick Fugit, and Jessica Carlson.
It was surprising that there's that many people. This is
it's an okay movie, I guess. It's a fun family movie that, as long as you don't actually think in too much detail about any of the constituent parts, is
with
fine.
like a ton of actors.
Yeah, there's a lot of famous actors in it, and there's a lot of like the graphics for this is a 2009 film.
Yeah.
The graphics are pretty bang up for a 2009 film.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's that family-friendly sort of young person movie, and it's okay. I would say you want a good family night with pizza, not really paying attention so much, cracking jokes and stuff, watch this fucking movie.
That's definitely it.
That's pretty much my thing for that. So let's move on to plot summary. Okay, so the plot summary of this movie, this is real simple. This is a real simple movie, okay? So, who is it? Josh Hutcherson and Chris Massagolia, which is, their names are Darren and Steve, it really doesn't matter. There's a lot of it really doesn't matter in this one also. So they're like high school friends, and Chris Massagolia is like he's like an upper middle class white kid, and his like parents like care about their standing in the community or whatever the fuck. And Josh Hutcherson's character is like the other side of the tracks, bad kid, and they're like BFFs in school.
Only they're like secret BFFs.
Well, no,
but like not really.
No, they're BFFs in school, and then they get in trouble for some shit. And Chris's parents are like, you can't be friends with him anymore. And he's like, okay, Mom and Dad. And then goes to school and is like, hey, man, we got in trouble. My parents said we can't be friends no more. But, like, we're still going to be friends. And so Josh is like, well, so we're, like, secret friends now? Like, you don't want to take me out in public or something? Because he's the most angsty bitch ever.
He's so angsty.
He's just an angsty bitch. Like, the whole secret friends thing is him labeling it as such, even though his friend is literally like, no, we're still friends. We just can't tell my bitch parents. Josh doesn't accept that, so now they have to be secret friends, or fucking whatever. Yeah. Right? So they decide to be secret friends, and they go to a freak show in town, set up in an abandoned theater or some nonsense, and they go to a freak show, and there's a bearded lady, and there's a lizard boy with a snake, and there's a werewolf man, and there's a what the hell ever. Ken Watanabe's like 9'12". They call him Mr. Tall or some shit. Yeah. But so they go to this freak show, and like the freak show gets broken up by the cops and his parents, and Chris has a fascination with spiders. The vampire guy had a spider, so he decides to steal it from the vampire, even though the vampire like basically admitted to being a vampire to them in the form of a threat. Yeah. And so so he steals the spider. The vampire tries to get it back, and is basically like, hey, listen, your friend was being a dumbass. Like that guy got bit by my spider. He's gonna die. So you have to deal with that. And he's like, please, I'll do anything, save my friend. And he's like, if you become my assistant, I need a daywalker. Then I'll make you a half vampire. I'll save your friend. Yeah. And so he decides to do that. So they fake his death, turn him into a half vampire, fake his death, and then his friend is saved. Now his friend takes this because nobody explains anything to anybody in this movie. His friend takes this as a betrayal because his friend, he has a fascination with spiders. His friend has a fascination with vampires and wants to become a vampire because he wants to drink people's blood and murder people and not have any rules. And that's the whole
reason he stole the spider in the first place.
Well, no. The friend stole the spider, or the main character stole the spider because he wants the spider. That's it. That's the only reason. He likes spiders. The friend threatened the spider, stole it from his friend, tried to threaten the vampires on multiple occasions because he wants to be a vampire to murder people and not have adults to tell him rules. Right? So there's like the main character who's a good kid who's trying to keep people safe. And then there's the secondary character, the friend character, played by Josh Hutcherson, who's like an angsty teen who wants to like hurt stuff, or what the fuck ever. So that's it. That's his motivation, is he wants to hurt stuff. So whatever, the kid gets turned into a vampire. He has to go through like some sort of bullshit vampire training lessons. He now has to live with the freaks. He's roommates with the lizard boy. He starts getting infatuated with the monkey girl. Well, we don't find out until she's monkey girl until way later. So he's dealing with all that kind of stuff. They gotta clean up the poop from the werewolf cage. That kind of like child jokes. Come to find out, while all this is happening, his friend, who's very butthurt about being abandoned and thinks that vampires are involved, decides to team up with the like creepy fat vampire who's vampinese, which means that they want to murder people instead of not murder people when they drink their blood.
AKA, they're the bad guys.
They're the bad vampires because they want to murder. Yeah.
And they're also not part of the freak show.
Yes, sort of. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. So he sides with them, and he gets turned into a vampire, and then he murders their teacher because their teacher picked on him, and then he decides to capture his friend's parents and the monkey girl that his friend is infatuated with, and so his friend has to like learn how to become a real adult vampire. And so they meet up at the theater, and like a big fight ensues, and the good vampire kid is like, no, you don't have to leave us, we can be friends. And he's just like, we can't be friends. You betrayed me when you decided to side with the vampires that don't murder things or whatever. Even though none of that really makes any sense. The good vampire ends up, because he didn't want to drink any blood, to stay a half vampire, ends up drinking a little bit of the monkey girl's blood in order to fight his friend off, and it starts this big war that we don't see. And it's because this is the beginning, and it like starts this big war, and the fat vampire is like, I got what I wanted all along, and then they kind of like swoosh cape away into the darkness, and the kid is now friends with the freak and with the freaks, and he's, him and the monkey girl are dating, and like his family's, I guess, aware of all this. That really wasn't resolved. It was not his family was there, and they didn't die, so they must be aware of it.
And they found out that he didn't die either.
But I feel like he's still living with the freaks, so who fucking knows what that is. His family was kind of losers, so they probably like, our kid, and so they maybe like knock out powder.
They were like clutching the pearls.
Yeah, they're fucking, they're crazy. But that's pretty much the way the movie goes. Yep. And then the movie ends with the like I would have never thought that I'd be a vampire involved in this vampire war, like helping out all these freaks, but here I am. And he like crawls into his coffin, and that's the end of the movie. Yeah. This movie is essentially one theft that causes one misunderstanding, that causes one gentle vampirism, that expounds into a global vampire versus vampinese war. That's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Right, so I mean, maybe the second movie gets into this war nonsense, and there's a whole thing where like the fat vampire has some sort of weird like control over life and death. He's more than a vampire.
Yeah, he's
clearly
more than a vampire. It's very strange.
He also like can like turn any vampire that died into like a shriveled up little like goblin man.
Yeah.
But that's never really explained.
Yeah.
And he can write in a book, and it can like change the fate of reality. And that's really never explained. There's a lot of shit that is not explained in the movie. But
so would you say that that's
functionally
of the movie?
The plot of this movie. So let's move into pros and cons now, right? Pros and cons. I would say that the biggest con of the movie is probably that there's so many plot points that aren't addressed. I'm going to go out on an obvious limb here that this is based on a book, and that they had to cut a buttload of stuff out to make this movie. But there's just a lot of shit that's kind of like not explained or expounded upon or talked about later on. But pros-wise, Salma Hayek has a beard in this, and the vampire is dating her, and it's very strange. She plays like a seer gypsy lady who can like majestically grow a beard and then shave it off all
and also
spontaneously.
cut hair like real nice.
Yeah, and the vampire's in love with her, and like that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
They're like weird. He's like, if you had told me a century ago that I'd be dating somebody with whiskers on their, a lady with whiskers on her chin, I wouldn't have believed you. But who knows? So like that, like the adults in the freak show are pretty interesting, but pretty much everything else in this movie's, in my opinion, kind of a con. This movie's like bald eagles from fucking stem to stern. It's just a boat of bald eagles. Because you just have to accept the shit that's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
They never explain the giant fucking spider either. By the fucking way.
Yeah.
It's just it just exists and maybe speaks English.
Maybe.
Or at least understands English.
It definitely understands it, yeah.
So, what about you? Pros and cons?
I would say the cons is that it's basically like a pretty, like, 2D universe. Yeah. Everything is just like, don't look behind the things. Like in Blazing Saddles, at the very end of that movie, when they make the fake town, and everything's just like that. That's a lot of how this movie feels in terms of character development and the universe that they're creating. It's like, it's cool if you're just looking at it face on, but if you really want to like try to delve deeper into it, it's not so fun. The pros was honestly like the huge list of stars that's in this. And some of these people weren't really stars then, and some of these people were stars then. But there's like basically every time a new character came on screen, I was like, oh, it's that person! Yeah! So that was really the best part of it, aside from Salma Hayek, because she's the best part in literally everything she's in.
That's probably true. That's probably true. So we're going to go into best bits.
Yeah.
My best bits are 3 characters. Specifically 3 characters. First of all, Willem Dafoe and his tiny pencil mustache vampire. He's in the movie like in 2 scenes, basically to just explain some background shit to the characters. It's amazing. I want Willem Dafoe tiny pencil mustache all the fucking time. Yeah. Secondly, Orlando Jones is just has like ribs and then like a spine with some stuff wrapped around it and then hips. That is hilarious, especially because his girlfriend is played by Jane Krakowski. Jane Krakowski, and she plays a lady who can regrow limbs, so she can just like pull her arm or her finger off, and every time you see the two of them together, the ribs guy and the limb fall off lady, she is very sexually feeding him one of her joints or digits or offering to feed somebody an arm, and it's fucking insane. The supporting adult cast in this movie is better than the whole cast combined. Yeah. It's bananas. Best bits, tiny pencil mustache, feeding Orlando Jones your own finger very sexually in front of a bunch of children.
Yeah.
What about for you, best
That's actually pretty close to my best bit. My best bits are really just like the whole like rest of the freak show circle. Like, you got the snake kid who wants to be in a band, and you've got Jane Krakowski, who I just love her in literally everything
she's super
does.
funny,
you know, trying to feel like, would you like my arm?
Yeah, she's like, I can grow it back,
if you're
just
hungry,
cut off
I'll
my
just
hand.
cut it off.
Yeah, and he's
you know, and like the really tall girl and the short guy with the big head, and getting to know
the really tall girl just has buck teeth.
Yeah, like
she's
getting
just taller than the short guy.
All of the freaks in the freak show and seeing them is really the best part. Yeah. And really, that's highlighted the most. There's like a musical montage that happens, like
that's also
like
true.
Almost at the middle, almost at the end of the middle of the movie, like end of second act. There's a musical montage, and that's the best part of the entire movie. Is the musical montage.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Also, because you just reminded me, so I'm not seeing her name on here, but the chick with the buck teeth is... Oh, here it is. Kristen Shale is the chick with the buck teeth. Yeah. And the guy with the tall head, who... I'm not seeing him on here, but he was in a ton of makeup. It's like a regular human, but he's very short, and he has a very tall forehead and, like, dome area. That looks like the prison guard, so the assistant in Super Jail. That is, like, almost exactly the character from the assistant.
He's got like a 45 head.
Yeah, it's the assistant from Super Jail, and every time he was on screen, I was just like, what's with the weird Super Jail reference? I don't know precisely when Super Jail came out, so, like, let me know below if you noticed an equal connection there. It'd be funny if it was, like, a fun little reference because of writers or some nonsense like that. But,
so what would you give this?
Let's get into ratings. I would give this 3 out of 5. This is definitely rewatchable. We've definitely seen it before.
Yeah, I would give this 3 out of 5.
It's good. It's a good family movie. Is it you know, I mean, it's Halloween themed because monsters are in it, but barely. Yeah. You know,
it's a really good, like, family-friendly, put on in the background and don't pay too much attention to.
Put it on while you guys are doing a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle movie. That's what I'm gonna give this 3 out of 5. It's a puzzle movie because it's the kind of movie where if you're not like focusing in on it, it's fine, right? But like, so the first act, I was like really focused on the movie and was like, this is boring as shit. And the second and third act, I was mostly playing app games and only gently paying attention. And I was like, this movie's like a fun adventure, assuming that you don't take into consideration that Pete is an asshat.
Which is too bad because I
he's
really
such an asshole in this, but he's such a good actor in reality.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a,
and he's like a little too young in this to be like,
and he's a super flat character in this, like no drama. But either way, what did you say you would give this?
I'd give this a 3 out of 5 also. Okay. Definitely a puzzle movie.
So yeah, either way, I've been John Norgrove, this has been Wife, this has been Review Jive, this was Terrible Movie Tuesday. We ended up watching Cirque du Freak, The Vampire's Assistant, which came out in 2009. We watched it on Netflix. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that kind of stuff. Let us know what you thought about it. Make us other people's problems. Make other people's problems more other people's problems. Share problems. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time, huh?